open. Bishwajit Deb, National Spokesperson of the Trinamool Congress, joins me. Agnimitra Paul, General Secretary of West Bengal BJP, with me on the broadcast, as is Jayanta Ghoshal, Consulting Editor, India Today. Sanju Verma also joins me on this show. But Bishwajit Deb, I want to begin by asking you, why was permission not granted for this rally? BJP says there is a pattern to this, whether it was elections where UP CM's helicopter wasn't permitted to land, and what is happening now. TMC doesn't want any opposition in the state.
Not at all. It is BJP who does not want any opposition throughout India, and that is quite eminent. The way the central government is functioning, the way the ED and the CBI and the central agencies are being used by the opposition at every corner of the country, we can see that actually BJP, led by Narendra Modi and Amit Shah, who is the biggest pappu of this country, do not tolerate any opposition in the country. Now, regarding what has happened today, I would clearly like to say that this is nothing else but hooliganism in the name of a political demonstration. If a political party wants to create disturbance, if a political party wants to set rampage, if a political party wants to destroy public property, burn public property, this thing cannot be tolerated. If they think that this is the way how to demonstrate, and they will do violence and they will create a law and order situation, this will not be tolerated. If they think that the police will welcome them with roses, it is not possible.
Okay, police will not welcome. Agnimitra Paul, you were in midst of that action, and the TMC very clearly says if there is vandalism, if there is arson, if there is violence, it will not be accepted in Bengal.
See, Mamata Banerjee is afraid of BJP, and especially, after this corruption things happening and everything coming into the limelight, people of Bengal coming to know about it, she actually doesn't have any other way to escape but use her police. They have been extremely active from yesterday, when in a place in outskirts of Calcutta, not even outskirts, in Calcutta, when 2 young boys were murdered and they're in the morgue for the next 10 days. Police are inactive. They don't know that the 2 bodies are there in the morgue. But they are very active from yesterday in stopping BJP workers from coming to Calcutta. We had booked 5 trains, 3 from North Bengal, 2 from South Bengal. You tell me, how does it matter? If not they are afraid that they have stopped our BJP workers from yesterday from boarding the train, boarding the bus. They have taken up the role of ticket checkers. They have entered the station. They don't have any authority to enter the station, and they are checking the tickets. My Karyakartas doesn't have ticket because we have booked the train. So they have very systematically, they have tried to stop our workers from joining our rally today. But actually, they have failed so miserably. I mean,
you call it fear.
They have failed so miserably.
Okay, let me bring in Jayanta Ghoshal into this conversation.
1 lakh workers, they weren't allowed to come to Calcutta, but still, our Abhiyan, Mamata Abhiyan was a huge success.
Of BJP got punctured today. There was no gathering. There was no gathering. The gathering was of hooligans who tried to
That's the reason. Yes, so that's the reason, your police was trying to stop us.
And since yesterday,
because there was no gathering, that's the reason TMC was trying to stop our workers.
Outsiders.
That is the reason we were stopped 7 kilometers away from Navannu.
Okay, one by one. Let's keep this conversational so that viewers across the country are able to understand what's actually happening, in the city of joy. And these clearly no reason for joy, the kind of images we see. But Jayanta Ghoshal, few people understand what's happening on ground better than you. Is the Trinamool Congress, Jayanta, on the defensive on these allegations of corruption and the action that was taken? Is there merit in the BJP saying that their Karyakartas weren't even permitted to join the rally?
Gaurav, please allow me to give me my objective assessment, because here Vishwajit is a very efficient spokesman of TMC, and Agnimitra Paul is today also, she was very proactive, and for the last few years she has achieved a lot in BJP politics. But my objective assessment of today's BJP's performance is that BJP has shown its strength today in their Navanna Abhiyan movement. What was BJP? BJP was nothing. And today you have to accept, I mean, I think TMC also will give the share of the devil, that BJP has become the main opposition now. And Congress and CPM is nowhere. I mean, in the assembly, I don't know what will be the fate of CPM in the future. That's a different story altogether. But today, it's a very unfortunate thing, but I am a Bengali journalist for the last 40 years.
Yes.
I'm a non-resident Bengali based in Delhi, but I'm very sorry to say that violence is the password of the success of West Bengal movement. Even, I mean, CPM taught this against Congress. CPM did it in the 60s. After that, TMC became the extension of that radical politics. Usually, I'm based in Delhi, so I know the pan-Indian BJP style of functioning, RSS, Johnson. West Bengal is a very unique case. When Dilip Ghosh started saying a lot of, I mean, so-called violent words, Mohan Bhagavat called him, Amit Shah called him, and Dilip Da also explained that this sort of vocal tonic, I am not going for violence, but you know, if there is no stone throwing,
Okay.
if there is no, I mean, some sort of firing, your movement will not be succeed. In the Gandhian peace movement in Bengal, never succeed.
Okay,
And
but the issue here, beyond violence, and I'm coming back to you in just a moment, give me a moment to reestablish that audio link with Sanju Verma, but Vishwajit Deb, I want to understand from you, sir. BJP says they're raising cases of corruption. 23
My
crore,
audio is working fine.
23 crore in cash found in one instance. Another 27 crore found in another instance, 1.4 crore in a CID raid, 16.97 crore in fixed deposit in one case. Sir, is this what politics in Bengal has come down to? Mr. Deb.
Give me 30 seconds to explain. We have not compromised with any corruption. Mamata Banerjee, our leader, has very clearly made it that we will not tolerate corruption. And TMC has got zero tolerance towards corruption. And that is why Partha Chatterjee, against whom these allegations were made, he was immediately removed from the cabinet and he was removed from all party positions and placed on suspension. We did not spare anybody. But the allegations are not proved. You see, it is an allegation. Allegation, until and unless proved before a court of law, remains an allegation. But who is talking about corruption? Is the BJP talking about corruption? What are they doing throughout India? Throughout India, what they have done, thousands of crores have been looted from the bank. You remember Nirav Modi, you remember Mehul Choksi, Vijay Mallya, they flew away from the country with thousands of crores looting banks and public money, and they were allowed to flee from the country by the central government.
Sanju Verma, if you can hear me, respond. Sanju Verma, respond.
What they have done to Chief Minister.
Okay, corruption is being used as an excuse to target the Trinamool Congress, says Vishwajit Deb. Respond, ma'am.
Gaurav, I have been listening patiently and I did not heckle anybody.
Of course.
I hope that courtesy is extended to me as well. First and foremost, let's make it very clear. This whole narrative that the BJP is scared of Trinamool Congress is a whole lot of hogwash. Yes, we did not get more than 200 seats, which is what the benchmark was. But imagine, we raised our tally from barely 3 seats in 2016 to more than 75 seats in 2021, which is more than a 17 or an 1800% rise. So the fact is we have done phenomenally well. I did not interrupt you. I did not interrupt you. I refuse to do it.
Mr. Deb, I'm coming back to you. Sir, let Sanju Verma finish. I'm coming back to you. Sir, she says she did not interrupt you. Let her finish, sir. I'm coming back to you. Ma'am, please complete your point.
Yes, thank you, Gaurav. You know, the other thing that I want to state is that Mamata Banerjee is not just the Chief Minister of West Bengal. Mamata Banerjee also has the Home Ministry portfolio under her. And the fact of the matter is that be it, Sinjoy Bose, be it Madan Mitra, be it Sawant Chatterjee, be it Anubrata Mandal, be it Partha Chatterjee, or be it the Law Minister Malay Ghata. Why is it that Mamata Banerjee always stands on the wrong side of the fence with the wrong set of people? Don't forget, Gaurav, that when Partha Chatterjee was initially indicted in the SSC stamp in 2021, Mamata Banerjee said, no, he's crystal clean. And she took the education portfolio away from him, but lo and behold, she gave him the transport portfolio, the commerce portfolio, the IT portfolio, the electronics portfolio.
Mr. Dev, please respond. Ma'am, you've made a point. Ma'am, you've made your point. Sir, please respond.
I must say the way the censor is...
Ma'am, let him complete his point now.
Not only against the opposition leaders of the country, but also against the Trinamool leaders. We can see that even the family of our General Secretary, All India, General Secretary, Abhishek Banerjee, has not been spared. His sister-in-law was called by the ED at 12 a.m. in the midnight. And this is how...
Hold on. Ma'am, Sanju Verma, hold on. Sanju Verma, you've made a point. Sanju Verma, hear me out, please. Hear me out. Ma'am, if both of you speak at the same time, it doesn't benefit the audience. It doesn't benefit our viewers. Ma'am, you've raised a point. Let him respond. I'll come back to you. I will come back to you.
You got me very late into the debate. He can't keep having rebuttals. You gave him 3 interventions, Gaurav. It's only fair. Let me.
I had Dilip Ghosh of your party in the beginning uninterrupted. Hold on. Sanju Verma, permit me to moderate this, please. Sanju Verma, please permit me to moderate this. Only Mr. Deb. Sir, please make your point. The point that BJP makes is, one after the other, Trinamool Congress leaders and ministers are in the eye of a storm. And not 1, not 2, not 3, but you have 27 crore rupees being recovered in one instance, 20 crore in another instance, and it's in, where have people seen that kind of money that's actually coming out of coffers in Bengal, Mr. Dev?
Well, let me explain. I will take 30 seconds. You see, these are all allegations. I'm again repeating. What happened with Malay Ghatak? They went to the residence. 6 residences were raided. And it was a big zero. The entire raid was a big zero. What is happening? What is happening with Abhishek Banerjee?
Ma'am, let Mr. Dev complete his point, please.
Even his sister-in-law is not being spared. She was called by the ED officials at the midnight. Can you imagine a lady being called at the ED office in the midnight? What kind of political vendetta is this? The entire family of Abhishek Banerjee has been targeted, whereas we can see that there is no evidence. 3 times he had been interrogated, each time for 7 hours.
But the specific case I asked you about, Anubrat Mandal and Partha Chatterjee, that's the point that Sanju Verma also raises. I'll come back to you to respond to this point. But Agnimitra Paul, Trinamool Congress says on Raksha Bandhan, BJP cadre were tying Rakhi, to the police, and today they were pelting stones at the same police. TMC says, what more hypocrisy can you see? What more desperation can you see, ma'am?
First of all, today's stone pelting wasn't done by BJP. The people over there, where I was present in Howrah Maidan, stone pelting and bombs were being thrown on us from the terrace of multi-storied buildings. The police was there, and TMC cadres, in the disguise of police as well as police, they were throwing stones and bombs hurling at us.
Ma'am, that's a very grave charge you're leveling. You're saying that the police and TMC cadre were hurling bombs at BJP
Absolutely false allegation. Absolutely false allegation.
Mr. Dev, don't shout. Mr. Dev, I know your leader is an autocratic leader. You will never give space to anybody to speak. Have little bit of decency. I didn't disturb you.
Okay, Mr. Dev, I did not permit Sanju Verma to speak when you were speaking. I request you to extend the same courtesy. Ma'am, let Ms. Paul complete her point. Let Ms. Paul complete her point. I'm coming back to you.
I'm surprised by Mr. Dev's behavior because his
Go on, ma'am.
leader, Mamata Banerjee, is an autocratic leader who doesn't give space, who wants a opposition-less government. So the same thing we see with Mr. Dev. The way he's screaming, have some decency, Mr. Dev. Let others
I
speak
have
also.
decency. And you also
You
please
don't have the decency.
One by
You
one,
don't have
please.
the decency.
Please have
You don't have the
decency
decency.
to speak the truth.
You are interrupting.
Okay,
Speak
okay,
when you
one
are
by
asked
one,
to
one,
speak.
only Ms. Paul,
Speak
only
when
Ms.
you
Agnimitra
are
Paul,
asked to
please.
speak. So the
Sir,
thing
I'm
is
coming back
that
to you. Please let her complete her point. I'm coming back to you. Go on, ma'am.
TMC, police and TMC cadres were hurling stones at us, and not only stones, they were hurling bombs at us. And Mamata Banerjee is saying that there was no crowd today. If she was so certain that there wouldn't be crowds, why was she using police minister? Why was she using a police to stop our cadres from coming, via train, via bus,
Okay.
from all the way from North Bengal?
Okay.
Today we were stopped 7 kilometers away from Nabanno.
Okay.
7 kilometers.
Ma'am, you've made
Why?
that point. Okay, Jayanta Ghoshal, this targeting of Mamata Banerjee in terms of, you heard Agnimitra Paul right now. You also remember what Shuvendu Adhikari said. She's behaving like Kim Jong-un of North Korea and its dictatorship in Bengal. Is that striking a chord on ground? Mamata Banerjee not permitting opposition to come out on the streets?
Gaurav, I will say that the taste of the pudding in its eating. The Panchayat election is coming in the next year, May, and 2024, 2 years are more there. And after 4 years, assembly election will take place. And usually it's not Narendra Modi style that 356 will be imposed. He is not Indira Gandhi. So now the thing is that what Sanju ji was saying, All India BJP perspective she has given. Agnimitra ji was in the ground zero, but Sanju ji is highlighting the corruption. Narendra Modi ji is also said on corruption in 15th August. So BJP's political line is very clear. They are trying to highlight the corruption issue and trying to make the perception in the urban middle class, in the rural Bengal. But my perception goes that BJP needs organizational strength to communicate this to the remote villages. Narendra Modi ji cannot go to the all villagers. BJP is trying for that. It's a trial and error methodology, and this litmus test of today's Nabanno Vision is a part of BJP strategy. Now, Trinamool Congress is trying to say, because Trinamool is for the last 10 years, they are in power, so anti-incumbency is the law of nature. Now, TMC is defensive and BJP is offensive, but what Bishwajit ji is saying, that there is no evidence, there is no prosecution, there is no charge sheet, only the visual, because the money, whose money is this, is still court will decide. But this judiciary is not the issue. The BJP is trying to make it a political issue to the people of the West Bengal, because seeing the money in the television channels, there is a negative perception. You have to accept this fact. But now I am again, the other side is Mamata Banerjee is a very smart politician. In 2021 also, CBI and enforcement was active and they went to Abhishek Banerjee's house.
Yes.
And we saw the result of 2021. And Mamata Banerjee is completely with the Bengali identity, with the outsiders issue, a lot of other issues. So she is also very smart politician. And I think that she's more strategist than Rahul Gandhi or Akhilesh. So now it is very interesting as a journalist.
Sanju Verma wants to come in. Sanju Verma wants to come in on this point.
Very interesting. Yeah. BJP will be more aggressive, and now we have to see that how TMC will counter this strategy. What will
BJP be more aggressive given what Sanju Verma, and this is the question that I put to you and then of course also to Agnimitra Paul. The perception in Bengal was BJP abandoned its cadre after 2021 and there was mayhem. And they were left to defend themselves. One, is there a change in that strategy? Point one. Point two, Sanju Verma, extremely critical. Yes, there may be images of money being found, but linking it to TMC leaders, has prosecution and punishment actually been BJP's Achilles heel in the past 8 years, ma'am?
Gaurav, you asked a very pertinent question. So let me be, very straightforward, and I'll call a spade a spade. This whole narrative that the BJP abandoned its own karyakartas and cadres in Bengal, I think that is a whole lot of hogwash, and I'll tell you why. Be it Sukanta Majumdar, be it Dilip Ghosh, be it, the likes of Agnimitra Paul, who's such a brave heart and dare on your panel right now. I think the strength of BJP is the fearlessness of its karyakartas. The strength of BJP is that the likes of Amit Shah, likes of JP Nadda, likes of B.L. Santosh, not to mention Prime Minister Narendra Modi himself, each time the karyakartas have needed the top leadership, they have risen to the occasion. But I will tell you something. There was a very interesting statement made today by the Trinamool Congress General Secretary Kunal Ghosh. He said that the protesters were not BJP karyakartas, they were media spokespeople and the police in plain clothes. So he's basically contradicting himself, and the point I'm trying to make is that the Mamata Banerjee dispensation has been now caught on the wrong foot in terms of the Partha Chatterjee scam, in terms of the Anubrata Mandal scam, in terms of the Hansakhani gang rape, in terms of, what was found at Malay Bhattak's residence, and, mind you, he's the law minister. So I think Mamata Banerjee is finding it tough to defend so many corruption-ridden cases of top Trinamool Congress leaders, and all of this happening at one go. So she's clearly rattled, she's overwhelmed, and the best thing she can do is try and make a scapegoat of the BJP, but the BJP is not rising to that bait any longer.
Fair enough. Ma'am, you made your point. Let me get Mr. Biswajit Deb to respond. Let me get Mr. Deb to respond. Sir, the BJP says this is Jan Jagaran. People are rising when they see corruption, these crores of rupees being found and their jobs taken away. They say, you heard Sanju Verma, you heard Dilip Ghosh, you also heard, Agnimitra Paul saying that Mamata Banerjee is now rattled and all the defensive. Response, sir.
The question doesn't arise. They are trying to mislead the viewers. What BJP is trying to do, they are trying to mislead the viewers. We can see very well.
Ma'am, let him complete his point, please.
From your visuals you can see. From your visuals you can see that the strength of BJP is a bunch of
Hold on, Sanju Verma, he did not interrupt you. Hold on. Sanju Verma, please let Mr. Deb complete a point. Only Biswajit Deb, please.
Who are bent upon to destroy public property, who are bent upon to set fire on the police vehicles. This is BJP. This is exactly what BJP is. And they have hired people from outside the state because they don't have anything. In Bengal, they are big zero. I am again telling you, politically they are big zero. And it has been proved today. The entire balloon has been punctured. And BJP knows that very well.
Agnimitra Paul wants to respond to that. BJP a big zero in the state and their cadre abandoning ship. Abandoning ship post 2021. Only Agnimitra Paul before I bring in Jayanta Ghoshal. Agnimitra Paul, please.
I want to ask Mr. Deb that if the numbers weren't enough today in the in the three places, why was the police so active in stopping us 8 kilometers away from Nabanno? Why? What were they so afraid of? In 1993, I remember Mamata Banerjee was Yuva president of Congress when she was stopped 1 or 2 kilometers away from the writers building, and they had burned down 6 police vehicles. I don't want to hear things of anarchy and what BJP is about from a person like Mr. Deb, who belongs to a party which only TMC is equal to Mamata Banerjee is equal to anarchy. So we really don't want to hear dialogues from this kind of a person.
Your party is a party of agencies.
Again you are interrupting,
your party,
Mr. Deb.
BJP is a party
Mr. Deb,
of
you haven't done your homework.
It's a party
Mr.
of
Deb,
frontal
you haven't done your homework. You have forgotten, or probably you don't know, that the CBI and ED is happening because of the Honorable Court. He needs to stop, then only I can speak.
Go on, ma'am.
Right?
Yeah, go on.
Mr. Deb hasn't done his homework. He doesn't know that the CBI and ED is investigating on the instruction of the Honorable Court BJP is no way involved in it.
I know very well.
What is he,
I know
what is
very
he
well.
shouting
What
about?
are the orders
What are
of
you
the court?
talking?
And what
What
are
are you
the orders
talking?
of your leaders?
Mr. Partho
What are the
Chatterjee's
orders of your
house,
home minister?
his girlfriend's
You know very
house.
One
well.
by one, please.
We see, if he shouts, I can't speak again.
Yeah, no,
From Mr.
Mr.
Partho
Deb, I'm coming back
Chatterjee's
to you.
girlfriend-
Let Agnimitra
Mr.
Paul complete.
From Mr. Partho Chatterjee's girlfriend's house, 51 crores are recovered. From where did this 51 crores come? After that, we see Anuprata Mandal, crores of property. After that, we see Raju Sahani, a simple chairman of a municipality. He is having international bank account. Then we see this Amir Khan and Nasir Khan, a businessman, who is in the same Vidhan Sabha as Mr. Firad Hakim, the minister.
So
He
what?
is having 18 crores. Again, don't interrupt.
A
And Mr.
businessman.
Firad Hakim
You are
is
talking
having...
about the businessman.
And Mr.
How do you
Firad
link with
Hakim-
Firad Hakim? Just
Oh,
now,
Mr. Firad
your
Hakim, why is he
spokesperson
having so
spoke
much of
about,
problem?
spoke about
Why is
law
Mr.
minister,
Hakim having
or
so
the law
much of
minister,
problem?
And the entire
Don't shout,
day
Mr.
long
Dev.
race in the law
Let
minister's
others
residence,
speak.
Molay
Let me
Khattam's
give my
residence
point. Why
was
are
a big
you
zero.
shouting?
It was a big
Why are
zero.
you shouting? Do you want to cover up the atrocities that your government is doing by shouting?
Not at
you
all.
want to do that?
Not at all. You first
Then why are you
prove.
shouting? Let me speak.
Allegation.
Why is Mr.
You are making
why
all
again he's
allegations.
shouting?
And you are
Why
trying
is
to
Mr. Firad
build up an
Hakim
image.
having so much
You are
of
trying to
problem
create a perception
when this businessman,
that you
a
are
black
the
marketeer, he is
only
having
party
18 crores in his house?
who is honest.
Okay.
Gaurav, if you don't ask him
No.
to shut up, I'll
No,
not
no.
be able to speak,
No,
right?
ma'am, you've made your point. Mr. Dev, you want to respond because this is a charge that is being leveled. If there was action taken, if there was a raid on Nisar Ahmad Khan, if his son Amir Khan was reportedly running something that is currently under investigation and 18 crore in cash apparently have been recovered, why should Firad Hakim, and that's the point that Agnimitra Paul raises,
Yes,
why should
is
he have
supporting this
an
kind
issue
of a
with it?
businessman? Why is he supporting?
Okay,
Firad
Mr.
Hakim
Dev, only
has-
Mr. Dev.
Firad
Go on,
Hakim-
sir.
Well, let me respond. Firad Hakim has no issue with it. He is an MLA of that particular constituency where this person used to reside. That's all. There is no issue. They are all making false allegations. They just now said about Molay Ghatok. Nothing has been recovered from the residence of Molay Ghatok. They conducted a day-long raid in 6 of his residences, and the entire raid concluded with a big zero. They are just trying to beat the bush. It's a roving and fishing inquiry, what they are doing.
Okay.
It's a
roving inquiry. You said Jayanta Ghoshal. Firad Hakim. Is there
All over
merit?
West Bengal?
If there is a raid, that is conducted on Nisar Ahmad Khan and his son Amir Khan, fifth seizure in 2 months, and points that are being made that this will impact economy of Bengal. How should one look at it? Jayanta Ghoshal.
Actually, what Vishwajita is saying, that is factually correct, that there is no evidence that this money belongs to Bobby Hakim or this man. Bobby Hakim said that I don't know the person, I never saw the person, and but you know, when the patient has a weak immunity, there is always a chance of viral fever, of external effect of the bacterial or viral thing. Now it's a very difficult situation for TMC because it's a politics of perception, and there is no full stop in politics. I don't know, tomorrow Mamata Banerjee is now in Midnapur, and tomorrow she will speak, how she will counter, she will be in the Suvendu Adhikari's area tomorrow. And this is I don't want to get into the tutu mama of the, because I don't in the politics. But as a political analyst, I am saying you that there is a fault lines.
Okay.
There are a lot of perception, politics of perception against TMC. And enforcement and CBI, what they are doing, BJP is trying to capitalize the corruption issue. And if there is a section of urban middle class, there is a process of disillusionment.
Okay.
But in the rural Bengal, still Mamata has a strong hold.
Okay.
Now,
clearly this will remain the big story.
How much BJP will penetrate, because now BJP, one thing you have to accept, one fact, Gaurav, that after the defeat, I am seeing the next day BJP has started the movement, BJP has started the activities against the TMC. They have not a defeated mind.
Okay.